Hey everybody, I'm at the Jabra HQ today and we've been looking at all the new range of headsets. I'm here with Nigel. Nigel, you want to introduce yourself?
Sure, I'm Nigel Dunn and I'm the VP for Northern Europe for Jabra, and this here at our headquarters in the UK in Langley near Heathrow Airport.
So Nigel and I were just going through the kind of olden days and some of the history of this back to the Link days. We're talking about the Evolve series and now Evolve 2, Nigel. Can you take us back to when the Evolve headset series launched?
Yeah, so this is the 10-year anniversary of the launch of the Evolve headset. And it was, game changer is one of these words that we use all the time, but it was at the time because up until that point, the telecom days were still just behind us, and Microsoft was talking about Link at the time, actually. And of course, we were trying to wean people off the knowledge worker away from the old telecoms to the new UC way of working. And this was the big agenda at the time. So we came up with the idea of having a story to tell users rather than a feature and benefit type story.
Yeah.
And this then talked about the ways that people worked. So if you were about in the office, you probably need Bluetooth. And if you were sat at your desk, you may have a corded one, but it was much more aesthetic and more acceptable for knowledge workers. And if you were at the high end where you needed concentration zone around your head, we had a product for that too. So there were products in the family that picked out the type of user case that
and benefits to a knowledge worker. So, like, I remember you took me back. There was a lot of friction at the time, wasn't there? Because headsets were associated primarily with contact center. So it was like trying to get knowledge workers to want to use a headset, to see the benefits of a headset.
Absolutely. Well, people were spending a lot of money on infrastructure to support the UC of the future. The last thing they needed were people to say, well, actually, I've got a mobile phone, I've got an interim technology, I'll call Joe and we'll go upstairs for a meeting. And literally things like that were happening. So the agenda for obviously people like Microsoft at the time was to get adoption. And so adoption became our mantra. And how do you get people to work with the technology? Make something that was much more acceptable for them to wear.
And like that series has been a huge hit. And then kind of more recently, the last few years, you had Evolve 2, which is kind of the second generation of that.
Yeah, and there we leveraged our consumer type of technology, mainly for the looks. So it's a very different looking product to the old type of.
This is the 65 Flex Evolve 2, yeah?
Absolutely. And so this one has some extra features, but realistically, if you look at it, it looks like a consumer type headset. And so we were leveraging that consumer side of our business and getting things to look more acceptable yet again. There were new features coming in with sort of noise cancelling and such like that was going to ultra modes and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
But realistically, we were still trying to appeal to users to get that technology. Of course, we launched it literally the month of lockdowns. And so the rest became history.
Yeah.
It took off quite quickly.
And it's obviously over this 10 years, it's got a lot more competitive in the space. Like the space has got bigger, more vendors have come in. And I think Jabra has always been at the forefront. You do loads of R&D, loads of testing, but I guess people might not know the bigger company. There's hearing aids, there's consumer, there's Blue Parrot, there's all this technology in the group that comes into these headsets as well.
Absolutely. And one of the best things that we've been able to utilize, that half of the company makes hearing aids, and they are high quality hearing aids, and the ability around that is miniaturization. And so we've been able to get, first of all, longer battery lives, so as a leverage of that. And that's also from our consumer side, because it's unacceptable for users to
That's where all the buds come in. You've got the consumer buds and the
and that's when the buds came along as well. So true wireless was a big mantra for us, and it was very important on the consumer side. And then it became quite interesting for users in the business world as well. So yeah, that constant evolution, maybe the Evolve name, was what we were trying to do as we saw the world changing, knowledge workers demanding more and more interesting technology. And now we're at the time when it's work from anywhere. And literally, the reason why these products are so important these days is that you could be sitting in Starbucks or working in the gym, and you can still use the products and take away the sound around you, so we don't know quite where you are. But it means then that people can work from not just home, not just in the office, but literally anywhere.
I think it's an interesting styling test on that front as well. So these have the completely retractable booms, which is like you see people certainly in London on the tube and on the trains and stuff. They're willing to wear these or the 85s on up out around, not just in the office as well.
Exactly, and I must admit that when the 85s first came out, I struggled to see the difference between a very known consumer product that was out there, and I'd have to look over the top of the seat to make sure it wasn't a Jabra one. But yes, these things now look very, very more acceptable for people to wear anywhere.
And then also, like when I talk to enterprise customers, like manageability, firmware updates, that seems to be a key part of their decision making around choosing devices as well. Do you see that come into the conversation a lot?
Yeah, we do. I mean, it's much more now like the Tesla model of electric cars, is that you get a product with a great deal of functionality, but as time goes on, we update the firmware and we actually, over the air for the user, update the features and benefits that they get. And that's been a constant mantra for us as well. And in large-scale users, we allow the IT manager to take control of that. And so we use Jabra Express to update the fleet and manage the assets in the organization as well. So it's a true enterprise-grade solution.
And it's 2024, so we have to say AI, those are the rules. But like in all seriousness, like you've been doing some stuff around that, but also I guess audio quality because of transcription, because of Copilot, it seems to have gone up. But if you're going to put better audio in, you're going to get better transcription, you're going to get better AI results. Yeah,
absolutely. And I think that this is going to be much more important as we go along. I mean, first of all, we think that voice is going to be the gateway into AI and generative AI in particular. And the reason for that is that, when you think about it, we can speak 4 times faster than we can type. If it's me, 2 fingers, it's a lot more. The other thing on that is that is on average into the transcription at the moment, it's about 1 in every 3 words is lost. So clarity of voice input is really important, and the Evolve range has been tested already and is at 95% clarity. And so you lose far less in the transcription, which is going to be important when you read it back.
Yeah,
I was in Finland the other day and they were transcribing my speech, not using the kind of technology or Jabra input, because it's just a plain old microphone. And the gibberish I came out with was far worse than I actually said.
Well, it's interesting. The new Copilot Plus PCs have this real-time translation as well. So it's again, better audio in, better transcription, but also better translations as well.
Yeah, and that goes right up into our video range as well in the Panicast 50. And it's really important because we dovetail there into the Microsoft naming of the individuals if you want to take that up as well.
Yeah, the transcription.
And then you get the transcriptions of Tom said and then Nigel said, and that's really cool. But of course, again, it comes down to the quality of the input to get the transcription accuracy out at the other end.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having me at the office today. It's been good to see everything. If people want to find out more about the Evolve 2 series or the wider Jabra series, I guess they could reach out to their Jabra rep or website probably.
Absolutely, and just knock us up, as they say.
Cool. Thanks, everybody.